Hi, this is Matthew. Going to talk about the next Chicago album, Chicago VIII from 1975. It's back to single albums again now. I think from this point onward there won't be any more double albums studio-wise. Some compilations might be, but as far as the studio albums go, no more of those. Pretty tired by this point. They've done a lot of touring and things, so they decided to do just a straight ahead rock album. There's some other little things in there that aren't rock. Just there are some jazz things happening. Critics didn't care for it. It was the number one album anyway. Mixed by critics, mixed reviews, but people say it's the weakest album of this configuration. I still enjoyed it, and I think these guys could play anything, and I would not be sad. I just like to hear them play in my ears. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I think there's a couple new vocalists. We'll see. Some voices I did not recognize in it. One big hit, and I think two minor ones that I didn't know were hits that were released. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. A couple new people. That Laude Olvera, I think his name is. He's now a full band member on congas, and maybe some other things. Who knows? He might be on vocals. I'm not sure, but I like his conga playing. I like that kind of stuff anyway. I like Spanish music of the regional Mexican, salsa, tropical, pop, rock, jazz-ish varieties. The urban stuff I just can't get into from the Spanish music. But the other stuff I like, the traditional stuff, flamenco stuff, the kind of stuff I really enjoy. But I just cannot quite get into the urban genres for some reason. They don't work with me for some reason. Not found anything to like for some reason. I don't know why, but just not for me, I guess. Unless something changes. But yeah, there no Latin infused anything on this one. Just more shredhead rock with some jazz elements, I think, mostly. But we'll go see what we have. 10 original tracks, and then there are 3 bonus tracks from the 2002 expanded Rhino version. Again, 2 rehearsal things and a live. Thing that I've actually played the song. Not that configuration, but I have played it in a jazz band before. So I'm like, oh, I know that song. Yeah. So we'll see what. I went and passed it out already. Let me see here. There we are. On side 1, we have. I don't care about it. I don't pay for Firefox, so it can go away. We start with on side 1. We have Any Way You Want, written by Peter Cetera, vocals by Peter Cetera. And then we have Brand New Love Affair Part 1 and 2. James Pinko wrote that one. And it's Terry Kath and Peter Cetera on the vocals. It's kind of different, though. I don't know. It must be the effects I'm using. Never Been in Love Before is next, written by Robert Lamb, and Peter Cetera sings that one. And then Hideaway, Peter Cetera wrote it, and Cetera, he sings it. Till We Meet Again, Terry Kath wrote it, and he sings it. And that will do the side 1. Side 2 is a song called Harry Truman that was a single, apparently. I knew it from, I think the collection was Take Me Back to Chicago, which I don't think is in print anymore, or something not a streamable collection. I enjoyed that collection. I never got a hold of it. The library had it. I borrowed it a couple times from the library in high school. That's written by Robert Lamb, and he sings it. He sounds different here. It's all about how, he wishes Harry Truman was around to, be president with everything going on in the 70s with Vietnam and Nixon, how I think disappointed he would have been in what they were doing. Kind of a song. I think a minor hit. And Oh Thank You Great Spirit, very interesting tune. Terry Kath wrote it and he sings it. Kind of a something American type thing. I forget what was going on in the song, but it was kind of a different approach. I'm not sure he was into Native American stuff or what, but that's usually who the Great Spirit is. I'm not sure. Maybe he's into some Native American stuff, or maybe he'd read some stuff or looked at paintings. I don't know what all was going on, but it's kind of a cool song. And then we have Long Time No See. Robert Lamb wrote it, and he sings it. And then we have Ain't It Blue. Robert Lamb wrote it, and Peter Cath and Peter Cetera sing it. Terry Cath and Peter Cetera sing it. And then we end with Old Days was the big single. Written by James Pankow, actually. There's some really nice rhythms in that one. Peter Cetera sings it. There's some nice jazz rhythms from the horns. But there's all over the place on this stuff. But that is a good one. And so no new vocalist. I really thought there had been a few new people, but it's just people singing differently, apparently. Apparently Robert Lamb and Terry Cath or Peter Cetera were singing differently, and I didn't recognize their voice for some reason. So nobody else gets to sing on here. Our bonuses, we have a couple of rehearsal tracks. The first one I think maybe is an instrumental track, but Wikipedia thinks it might be a vocal, like a backing track to something. I don't know. I really like it. It's very much a rehearsal, you can tell. There's no overdubs. You can kind of hear the room they're in. It is a thing called Sixth Sense. I guess Terry Cath wrote it, and it's the instrumental, of course. And then the other track is a vocal one / with a lot of just instrumentation going on. Like maybe it wasn't quite fleshed out, and it wasn't going anyplace. So they just kind of like stopped doing it. But it was good anyway. Called Bright Eyes. Robert Lamb wrote it, and he does sing on it. It's mostly kind of an instrumental jam thing. In fact, it fades out after a while just because I guess nothing was going on, and why waste more time? I don't know. And then there's a live performance of Satin Doll from a Dick Clark Rockin' New Year's Eve special. I'm assuming from maybe 74 or 75. I think it started around like 71 or 2 on there. And they talk, we used to sing this live at the end of the performance. Really good performance. Of course, Duke Ellington, Billy Strayhorn, and Johnny Mercer, him and his 2 songwriters wrote this. It is an instrumental. There's no vocals on it. When my jazz band did it in high school, we did it my, junior year, I believe. Maybe senior. I've forgotten now. Someone who kind of a friend of mine, sings on it. She was a grade or 2 below me, but she was a good singer and did jazz some then. I don't know if she still does or not. I think she's busy and has, I don't know if she's got kids or not, but I'm not sure. I was in the D.C. area last I knew. I've not seen her on Facebook for a while, so I'm not sure what she's up to, or her sister, who was older, who I kind of knew a little bit from another thing, but I knew this one in high school. But we did this one, and then we had vocals on it. I, of course, was on trombone in my section with those guys. Cool rendition. Not sure what else they did on that performance. That's all we have, so I'm not sure what else they did on that special. Does anyone know if they found it? Is it available? I wouldn't mind seeing it. I like to see these guys live because they were so improv-ish. Improv-y? New word. They're such a good improv band. Because with all the jazz and stuff. Yeah, it was a very good performance. Short, but it was good. Our personnel will be the same, I believe. Peter Cetera, bass, lead, and backing vocals. No other instruments mentioned here. Terry Cath on electric and acoustic guitar, lead and backing vocals. Robert Lamb on keyboards, lead and backing vocals. Yeah, just a nice Rhodes keyboard on here. Fender Rhodes, I guess. Lee Lemon on trumpet and backing vocals, of course. There's Pico on trombone and brass arrangements. He's so good at those. I would love to know the backgrounds of these guys. I've never seen any books on this band. I assume they all did some kind of jazz. Listened to it, but I don't know if they were formal trained or ear trained or self-taught or what you would say, but I don't know. I really enjoyed. I like his arrangements on things. And then, of course, Walter Pereira on saxophones and flutes and clarinet. There are all three on this album. I forget the one that had clarinets and flutes in it primarily. I can't think which one that was now. Just nice to hear. Dennis Serafine on drums, of course, and Lauderdale Oliveira on congas. Oh, just percussion in general, but I think he favors conga drums, but all kinds of percussion-y things, which I guess would free up other band members from having to play them, but I'm sure they probably still will sneak something in here and there, but with overdubbing, of course, he can just do everything if he wants. That's the joy of overdubbing and multi-tracking stuff. You can just have yourself playing all kinds of things. But yeah, he's a full member now. Some additional guys we have. Not just the band itself. We have the Caribou. They call them Kitchenettes. John Casero, Donna Conroy, and Lotte Oliveira, and Bobby Eberhardt and Steve Petrin, Keith Ferguson, and Keith and Green, Milliman, and Brandy Maitland, and Carthy Ogden, and James Pickett, Rosa Prezando, John Riconi, Richard Torres, and Angel Werner. That is the whole put together chorus for Harry Truman, which there's many people singing on, so that's cool. String arrangements for Old Days for Patrick Williams. He did Old Days and Brandon Love Affair. Brandon Love Affair was the other single, I think. Brandon Love Affair was the other single that was released. But I only ever heard Old Days and Harry Truman, so I don't recall hearing the other one. I have now, though. It's very good. Yeah, there are some nice string arrangements, so he did a good job to him for that. Production guys again. James William Garcia was the producer, of course. Wayne Tarnowski, engineer again. Jeff Garcia, engineer. Mark Garcia, engineer. He must have family members or siblings helping out here. Phil Ramon mixing again. John Berg cover design. Nick Virginia cover design. Anthony Magyar artwork and handwriting. Reed Miles poster photography. So mostly the same bunch as usual, with a couple of extra guys on here in the photography area, but pretty much the same crew we've had for a while now with their albums, so that's consistent. But next time we will go, it'll be probably pretty short. It will be a greatest hits collection because the Chicago 9 is greatest hits. And I know there is a volume 2 somewhere, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to find it. I never was able to get a hold of it. I saw it places and I never bought it. Did I ask for Christmas one time and I didn't get it either? Just never came around to getting it. Never bought any of the albums either. Just have a couple on vinyl, as I've said, but we're past the ones I have in the vinyl department. So, yeah. But again, a really enjoyable album. People say it's the weakest album. I still don't think so. I don't think anything they did was weak. I enjoyed everything they did, even if it was like it could just be all ballads, and I would still like it just because I'd like to hear them all play together. It was such a good group, in that point of the band. Yeah, I enjoyed it again. 9, of course, will be familiar territory, but I will still make it a separate video just so the numbers match, and we don't have weird numberings going on. As much as I can avoid that from occurring, I'm going to try. If that volume 2 is numbered, I'm going to be screwed, as it were, because I can't. And it didn't do well in Canada. It was Chicago 8, but they had it as a different. I can't remember what their numbering was, but there was some numbering weirdness, and it confused people. But I think they eventually got it corrected. But there was some catalog issues with Canada's album at first. I'm sure it's been fixed now, but there was some weird, people didn't know what the heck was going on. So, but we'll move on next time to greatest hits, Chicago 9, as it is, and see what's there. That's my first one I ever got from them as any album that I owned actually was that one. So I will like listen. I will definitely want to listen to it again, just because it's been ages, and I used to put it on a lot. Sometimes I would just pick a song I really liked and just play that. Usually that was Calling Me. I would play a lot, some other ones, but I would give it its own video, again with the numbering and all that. Otherwise, I would have, if they didn't number, I would just would have thrown it in here, but I don't want to do that. So we'll do it next time on the next video in the series.